Hey team, today I wanted to talk with you about leadership styles. Most importantly, I wanted to talk about the trait theory of leadership. And that's really the concept that you were born with the traits to become a leader. And I wanted to discuss my opinions about that with you. I'm going to have to go through a couple things about leadership first. I speak about leadership all the time. If you haven't delved into leadership before, and if you're not really, familiar with different leadership styles, this kind of stuff will be important. I'll do this over several episodes. I realize I've done leadership, fundamentals of leadership seminars several times before, and they can take hours. So what I'll do is kind of divide this up into bite-sized chunks for you. Let me start off by sharing screen here, and I'll share a pretty basic slide deck. There we go. So if we're focusing on improving our leadership, we need to learn a little bit about leadership styles and understanding what leadership is, what the difference between power and leadership is, and the difference between management and leadership, and discussing principles of the different parts of leadership or types of leadership and the trait theory of leadership. Some things I won't talk about: leadership fundamentals 1, time management, teamwork, CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, communication, sales operations or HR, customer service, customer experience, organizational skills, stress management, giving and receiving feedback, decision-making skills, policy development, your lifestyle choices or habits, persuasion, or perception. These are all important pieces of being a leader, but I'm not going to talk about them in this. I'm sure I'll have plenty of episodes in the future on YouTube where you are able to learn about each of these things. But right now, I just want to dig right into the kind of fundamentals of leadership. So what's leadership? It's getting everybody rowing in the same direction. It's influencing others towards a goal. It's using that influence to motivate people towards a goal. And it's a soft skill. What do I mean by a skill? It's a soft skill, so it's something that can be taught or learned or trained, practiced. Now, what's power? That's the ability to influence the behavior of others to get what you want. And what's management? It's controlling a group of people, organization, or process. Now, a lot of times strong leaders will be good at management and have power, and they're good at leadership. So it can be easily confused that there's a difference between these. Management versus leadership. Leadership's worried about effectiveness, and management's worried about efficiency. You see this when you see good managers that are managing really by metric, and they're saying, okay, we need to get, down to 5 widgets, today, and I want 0 defects and all that kind of stuff. That's management. Leadership says, let's produce widgets and take over the market. So that's effectiveness. So management is worried about efficiency, and leadership's worried about effectiveness. Leadership refers to influencing and motivating people, or management is about controlling people. Management is also a little bit different in that, leaders are sometimes also managers, but leaders who manage are responsible for influencing and motivating as well as controlling and governing. So management, because of its controlling aspect, can feel like you're a domineering leader. It feels like you're governing from a leader. So they can be a little bit in conflict, and those differences can create some friction. Why do people want to become leaders? Mainly because of ego. I've been at companies where people thought that the only way they could grow is become a manager or a leader. They're power tripping. They feel inadequate or out of control. They just want to be a leader so that they're in charge of people. They want more money. So they think that by being a leader, they'll make more money. And, in reality, salespeople tend to be paid better anyway. They want more prestige. They want to feel like a rock star. And I've seen this before in my teams. They want easier work. They think by becoming a leader or a manager, they will have less work to do and their quality of life is going to improve. That's not necessarily true. In fact, there's usually more responsibility, higher expectations, sometimes longer hours. You have to work harder and longer. So what are the right reasons to want to be a leader? Well, wanting to serve a team, wanting to be a coach and to mentor people and to show them how to grow, wanting to be responsible. So you have to make up this decision on your own. Do you want to be a leader because you want to help people? Or do you want to be a leader because you want to be a rock star and you want to focus on you and you want to feel powerful and you're greedy? So you decide what aspect you're coming from or what angle you're coming from into leadership. Do you want to help people? So who are you talking to? Are you talking to the people that you need to help? Or are you kissing up to business owners and executives? I've seen this a lot where people in the team that say they want to lead, they're all over the leaders and executives, but they never talk to the people who they would be leading. Are you talking more to the business owner than to people on your team? When I was, president and COO for a bit, I realized I never talked to the owner. Never. Like once a month. It's not even interesting to me to have that conversation because what was interesting to me is talking with the people on my team. So I would manage my team really well and lead my team really well. And, however, the owner, without communicating them, had these expectations that I would be kind of, more engaged with him. And, in the end, the owner wanted a leader that would, kind of almost be, parroting things back and keeping him apprised of status constantly and things like that. That was never an expectation that was communicated with me. So I just did a great job grabbing the team by the reins and leading it. Anyway, discovering where you are, if you're, this wannabe leader who's just kissing up to become a leader, or if you want to actually help people, that takes some self-discovery and some analysis. Do you really want to help people? Think about how you speak to people. Do you say, how are you? What are you working on? How can I help? Are you looking for ways to be a servant leader? What's a servant leader? Are you, taking out the trash for them? Are you helping them? Are you making things easier for them? Servant leadership's the idea that it's the role of the leader to serve the team. Not to serve the business, not to serve anything else, it's to serve the team. Servant leadership is the idea that it's the role of you to serve your team and that you need to look for ways to empower them. You need to enable them. You need to share your power and control that you gain with them. And it's really hard if you're egotistical to do that. You get credit for it. You pass it to the team. You get, reward. You share it with the team. You get power, share it with the team. Control. Do what you can to enable and empower your team. Listen and collaborate. And understand that, it's really not all about you. Your team comes first. And this servant leadership model, more than anything, creates a team that trusts you. If you're going out of the way to bend over backward to give your team what they need, they will trust you. So servant leaders tend to be good listeners. They're empathetic. They're self-aware. They have, a lot of persuasion because of that level of trust. They're willing to help and they're humble. And I think that every leader should strive to be a servant leader. There are times when we have to slide into other leadership styles, but servant leadership should be kind of the default. So that brings us to the trait theory of leadership. Now, we've all met those guys. We call them Chad. You know, the epitome of the perfect leader. You know, the guy who's, the trust fund baby who grows up leading an organization and is a CEO. Like that kind of person who was the all-star quarterback and has never not been in a leadership role. He was born to lead, right? There's nothing this person can do wrong. They know how to lead. Everything about their genetics is helping them lead. Now, while there are some traits that are desirable and will line someone up for leadership, while people can be born into that, a lot of leaders can be made as well. But anyway, the trait theory of leadership is that leaders are born, that they're really separate from non-leaders because of those character traits, because of those born-in qualities, because of characteristics they have. They have natural abilities. They're charismatic, confident, motivated, intelligent, energetic. They're great communicators. They're tenacious, powerful, and dominant. And usually they're men. So they're natural born leaders. And in this are the ideas of predetermination and the idea that leaders can't be developed or taught. So really, if trait theory of leadership was 100% correct, then what are you doing watching a YouTube on leadership? Why would you try to improve your leadership at all? Well, it's not correct. Leadership is something that evolves and is trained and is practiced. A lot of people are not good leaders when they start, and they fumble through it and learn from their mistakes. And it takes years to mature as a leader. Yes, there are some people that are born that way and just are naturally charismatic and beautiful, and everything is great, and they're intelligent and they're amazing with people, and they care a lot, and they're born leaders. That does happen. But the majority of us actually have to work at it. And while I'd say that I'm kind of a born alpha, I automatically, through all the years, even when I was a kid, if there's a group, I'm going to end up leading it. I'm always going to kind of rise to that. That being said, I have not been perfect. I've made more mistakes in leadership than anybody I know. It's been a constant learning thing. I'll say something wrong and then regret it instantly and be like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And then try to not do that again. And, it is something where it's something that I'm having to learn and work at. So it's not born. I may be born with the ability to naturally kind of lead, but am I doing it well? No. So, a lot of people are afraid of leadership because they think they're not born with these traits, but they can be taught to anybody willing to learn. So I'm going to call the trait theory of leadership as being wrong. And, there's a lot of leadership styles, and you can learn them and you can practice them and you can become a better leader. What I will say about the trait theory of leadership is it does explain those natural leaders. The people that are born and just kind of slide into cream of the crop jobs and are perfect leaders of teams and become the CEO of an organization young, those are the people that, are born with those characteristics. But those of you that aren't, The rest of us, we have to work at it. There are a lot of different leadership styles. It's important to understand really what your default styles are, as well as, how to apply other techniques or styles to certain environments or certain audiences. And understanding more about these increases your awareness and helps you to adopt them. So you will improve your own skills if you try adopting some of these. Yes, you'll fail, but you'll learn. So I'm calling out 7 basic leadership styles: authoritarian, participative, delegative, charismatic, transformational, transactional, and servant. I've been under all these. I've tried all these. Transactional is something I use from time to time. I'd say, that primarily I'm delegative and transformational. Sometimes charismatic, but not really. But the charismatic leaders are usually those leaders that are those born ones. I guess I can default to charismatic sometimes. It really depends on the audience and the situation. A lot of times that charismatic and transformational kind of go together. I need to make a change, and I need to make a pivot, and I need to do something fast, and I need to motivate everybody to do that. Those are the styles that I go to. Whereas somebody else might crank down on authoritarian and say, this is what we have to do, you must do it. I'm not that guy. But in between those heavy moments of transformational and charismatic work, I'll default to delegative leadership. I'm identifying priorities, I'm planning, and I'm giving those things to people to handle. I'm focusing on, thinking about the business, and I'm delegating. I'll do a lot of servant leadership, but it's not natural, I guess, for me, as much as I think an extrovert might be better at servant leadership than me, but I do my best. But delegative leadership seems to be my default. Know that none of these are wrong. To me, authoritarian feels wrong, but there are times and places for each of them. And just like I said, delegative is pretty much my default, but I will go charismatic, transformational, will go servant leadership. Think about different cases and different situations where you might use a different style. And your company may be leaning towards a style that is different. And you may have a service team, like a help desk, or the guys changing oil out at a car repair center. They may work best under authoritarian style. A development team or group of graphic designers may work best under a participative style. So different styles work for different people in different groups. So these leadership styles can be either people-oriented, task-oriented, or achievement-oriented. And some of them are several. Like servant leadership is achievement-oriented and task-oriented, but we also know it's people-oriented. So it's like, these can map to several. So, do I believe in the trait theory of leadership? No. Do I believe that traits do influence what kind of leaders we have naturally? Yes. But I also believe that leadership is a skill that can be trained and practiced and perfected. I may not believe that perfection exists anywhere, but it's definitely something that can be constantly improved upon, so anyone can be a leader. So searching for that ideal specimen of genetics that is born with this may give that person an edge, but they're also missing a lot of that diversity and life skill that would have made the leader that they are today. And so as you grow up, you accumulate a wealth of experience. And if you're practicing leadership during that time, then you have a leg up on anyone with those natural traits. Thanks for listening. Everybody feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment, ask a question, whatever. Be as interactive as you can. I appreciate it. Thanks.